Grandpa, did you meet any famous people while you were serving in Memphis with the National Guard?
I saw many new faces in Memphis, and I learned many new names. I don't know if they were men or gods, but I can't forget them all the same. It was a hot night in Overton Park. We were stationed there picking up trash. We'd set up base at the Levitt Shell, so Charlie couldn't sneak up on us. Of course, it meant the smell from the zoo was almost unbearable. Word got around that they were pulling men for a special detail. Escort, HVT, some kind of local royalty. I joked and said, "How many kings does one city need?" They shook their head and said, "Not a king, but a prince." Me and 5 other grunts were debriefed on the mission. It sounded simple enough. We were supposed to meet the target at the top of the pyramid and escort him to the Pink Palace. We would have support. We were supposed to parachute to the riverside and walk from there to the pyramid, but it all went wrong when we missed the jump and landed in the middle of a barbecue festival. The crowd thought we were part of the show. They clamored for us to judge the barbecue. We did it so as to not upset them, but every time we said one good thing about one barbecue restaurant, they'd scream at us that we didn't know anything about barbecue. We started with Rendezvous. We said it was all right, but then people shouted, "No, Corky's is better." And then other people shouted, "No, Tops is the best because it's the best value for your dollar. Sure, it's mid, but it's the best value." And then another person screamed, "Central has the best wings." And another person punched him in the face and said, "No, this isn't about wings, this is about barbecue." And someone shouted from the back, "Hey man, don't sleep on Elwood Shack." It was madness. I knew we were losing control. If we were to get out of there alive, I needed to cause a diversion, so I grabbed a slab of ribs and threw it in the air and hit in a pink mist of barbecue sauce, let loose in the crowd. The sight of the barbecue on the ground angered all of them, and they turned on us. So I threw a smoke grenade, but they just held the ribs over the smoke, said, "This'll add some flavor." And then we knew we had the necessary distraction, so we ran as a team towards the pyramid.
Did you meet the prince at the pyramid, Grandpa?
Ah, yes, the prince of the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid. We took the elevator up to the top, and when we arrived, we saw him writing decrees and then throwing them over the balcony, as if somehow that was policy. Prince Mongo. He looked like the high priest of Burning Man. I told him, "Prince Mongo, we're here as your security escort to get you to the Pink Palace." He said, "1 minute, I have to write one final decree outlawing security escorts, and then I'll be right with you. Take the elevator back down and wait for me at the catfish tank." And by the time we got to the catfish tank, he was already in it, swimming with the catfish. We ventured outside, and he whistled, and a repurposed FedEx truck pulled up, and we all climbed into the back. We took off, trying to get to our destination. We were driving along in the FedEx truck when we were stopped by a gentleman wearing a Grizzlies hat on top of a Titans hat, who simply said, "Where's my motherfucking package?" We had to get onto the freeway.
Were you safe once you were on the freeway?
240 is a godless hellscape that devours weakness. We did our best to keep the truck steady, but every bump in the road felt like a tick in a bomb. Finally, we hit the big one. I came to on the side of the road with my lieutenant screaming, "We have to get out of the road!" I looked around and saw craters everywhere. He told me they were potholes. I said, "Bull, that one looks like a sand trap." As my lieutenant pulled me into the median, I looked over and saw Prince Mongo already taking photos of the accident with a disposable camera. Somehow he already had a neck brace on, and I asked him, "Your Excellency, where are we? How are we going to get out of here?" He told me to calm down and give him his phone. He said he'd call us an Uber, but he just dialed a number. He didn't open an app or anything. Whoever it was on the other end of the line, he told him to meet him where the tiger statues and the horse statues met. And then he hung up the phone and handed it back to me and said, "You should probably burn this." He walked, and we followed him all the way to the Wolf Chase Galleria Mall, where we were met by a horse-drawn carriage. The driver said normally they don't leave downtown, but for the prince, they're willing to do anything. So we all climbed into the back of the carriage and rode along the highway all the way to the Pink Palace.
Did Prince Mongo say thank you to you for taking him to the Pink Palace?
As a matter of fact, he did. He knighted us, all of us. Each one of us. He came over to us as we were knelt down in front of him, and with the neck of a Gibson guitar, he touched our shoulders and then our heads, saying, "In the name of the Dolph, the Jaw, and of Stack Studios, amen, say man."